Hey there everybody, Justin Klumpner here, painting teacher over at Rockwall High School, and today we are going to talk about various types of shapes and how they can be used to create space. So when we talk about shapes in space, let's start with the basics. A shape is a flat enclosed area. When we discuss shapes, they are usually divided into two categories, organic shapes and geometric shapes. Organic shapes are usually found in nature and usually bend and change directions in unpredictable ways, while geometric shapes are mathematical with crisp, precise edges. When we create a shape, we divide pictorial space into two spaces, what is inside the shape and what is outside the shape. This creates a figure in a field. This can also be referred to as a solid and a void, or a positive space and a negative space, or as a foreground and a background. There's lots of ways you can talk about it. The repetition of shape creates patterns. This has been employed by humans across the globe for as long back as we have a record. In fact, cuneiform, the oldest known system of writing, was basically wedge-based patterns pressed into clay tablets, and that goes all the way back to 3500 BCE. The relationship between shapes creates space. That space can take multiple forms. We are most familiar with illusionistic space. That is a space that is designed to imitate the dimensional space of our reality. Flat space is a space that is read only two-dimensionally, without any illusion of distance between figure and ground. There is also layered space, where the only sense of spatial relationship between two forms is that they overlap. Art from the Renaissance up to the 19th century was committed to illusionistic space. Renaissance artists developed their linear perspective to depict the world as accurately as humanly possible. But pictorial space has been handled differently in different eras and cultures. Ancient Egyptians used pictures as a communication tool, so depth and proportion weren't nearly as important as the information they were trying to convey. Because of this, many images use a very shallow depth and alter space and scale to discern what is most important. Cubism developed its own treatment of space by introducing reductive, abstracted forms, shattering traditional space and perspective by combining multiple views in the same composition. The spatial innovations of Cubism mixed with the energy of Harlem, inspired by the golden age of jazz, to create an art movement focused on a dynamic use of design elements in layered spaces. These Harlem Renaissance ideas are exemplified here by Romare Bearden, best known for his collage compositions made from torn magazine images and assembled into visually powerful statements on African American life, and here by Aaron Douglas, whose murals and illustrations address social issues around race and segregation in the United States. Non-representational abstraction creates another innovation in pictorial space. Well, really it brings artistic traditions of creating space, long used by humans everywhere, into the world of modernist painting. Abstraction, especially geometric abstraction, can be found in the earliest artifacts of every culture. It was first used in modernist paintings by artist Hilma A.F. Klint, who created radically abstract paintings in 1906. They were like nothing that had been seen before. They were bold, colorful, and untethered from any recognizable references to the physical world. American abstract expressionist Jackson Pollock referred to Navajo sand painters in developing his methods of dripping and throwing paint onto a canvas laid on the ground. His paintings depict a rhythmic, twisting, flat expanse of lines evenly distributed across an enormous canvas. Henri Matisse, in the paperworks made towards the end of his life, uses shapes of color to create a very flat pictorial space. Compare that to the contemporary artist Kaws, who also uses shapes of color, but includes linear perspective and the simulation of cast shadows to create the illusion of space. There are various artists that blend two-dimensional works with three-dimensional structures to accentuate shape and space and create something in between image and sculpture. Two of my favorites are Lee Bontekoe, whose work, built using canvas, conveyor belts, and mail sacks, are attached to welded steel frames that feature dark openings reminiscent of black holes. And Eva Hesse, a post-minimal artist known for her pioneering work in materials such as latex, fiberglass, and plastics. So now that we've had that talk, how can you use shapes to create space? Let's start simple. What's the simplest way to create the illusion of space using shapes? Head over to Canvas to check out today's activity and let me or your teacher know if you have any questions. All right?